Last weekend, I had the privilege to attend a bottle share with the 513 Craft Brew group on Facebook. We were at Third Eye Brewing Company in Sharonville, celebrating the release of the collaboration beer called Meanwhile in Sharonville. Bottle shares used to be an intricate part of the craft beer culture, and these days you don't really see it as much for a variety of reasons, and we can go into that later, unless it's a private one. So it was fun to attend. Unfortunately, Caroline, you weren't able to make it.
No.
We can go into that as well later.
Y'all partied without me, losers.
In this episode, we are going to discuss bottle shares, why they are an important part of the craft beer culture, and what you should bring if you are invited to one. Plus, we'll talk about the collaboration beer that the 513 Craft Brew Group did with Third Eye Brewing, the podcast I was on with Blake the Brewery Explorer. Spoiler alert, it was chaos.
Do you have any pro tips as the editor of what was at one point our 100th episode?
Do I have any pro tips? No, I don't have any pro tips.
Do some shots.
Yeah. Caroline apparently has a button on a show we've never heard of before. I blame Truth, Beer, and Consequences.
I've heard of the show. I have not listened to it.
And sadly, we have some not so good news coming out of the local craft beer community. One of our local breweries is closing its doors for good. So we'll talk about all that and more. But first, my name is Joe. Thank you so much for listening to the Craft Parenting Podcast. We are the podcast about two Cincinnati craft beer lovers with a parenting problem. This is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline.
Hi, my name is Caroline. I drink craft beer. I crochet and knit and diamond dot and embroider and name a craft. And I probably have done it and could probably pull out some supplies with 10 minutes in my craft room to accomplish almost anything at this point. My craft room's getting a little.
So we have a lot
full
to get into, and off to the side here, I am very badly pouring this beer to try to make it even.
It's like you could use some napkins.
Oh yes. Okay.
That's a teaser for our list later.
Yep. All right. So.
Ooh, did you have this on draft? Because I have not had this at all yet.
Yes, I did have it on draft. So, as mentioned in the introduction, we are drinking, I went to a bottle share, and we picked up some of the collab beer. We have two of these, so this is one of two. This is called Meanwhile in Sharonville. It is a blueberry, raspberry, maple syrup stout. Barrel aged.
Yup. Part of their 2025 barrel aged series at Third Eye.
And it was brewed by Third Eye Brewing in collaboration with the 513 Craft Brew Group on Facebook. And the ABV is 12%.
Yep.
Caroline, do you want to read the side of that real quick?
Yeah. So Third Eye is live life, do good, drink beer. And the description for this beer is rise and shine. We're having pancakes for breakfast. In collaboration with the 513 Craft Brew, we're serving up a mouth-watering delight of berry pancakes in the form of a delicious barrel-aged stout. Aged for over a year and blended with blueberry, raspberry, maple, vanilla, and marshmallow, this limited release is rich and decadent, yet bursts with a tart berry sweetness that will transport you straight to your cozy breakfast nook. Where's our cozy breakfast nook? I have not been transported, and I had a sip. Scandal. Now, where's the whipped cream? That's a good question. And I love this bottle because it says contains lactose, peanuts, and wheat. So, Marco, I'm sorry, you cannot have this beer, but at least the bottle tells you that. Thank you.
It's very sweet.
It is, and that's probably the lactose.
And I believe Kelly said he transferred it from the original barrel to a second barrel.
That
two separate barrels.
ooh.
And like I said, this was in collaboration with the 513 Craft Brew group on Facebook. Originally started by Zach Holly. Shout out to Zach. He and some of the guys and the members over there in that group collaborated with Kelly Montgomery and the Third Eye Brewing crew, and they brewed this beer. They were Kelly, of course, came up with the recipe. And the Third Eye team came up with the recipe.
Kelly does great work.
But he took notes from Zach and the team. Zach is a really big fan of barrel-aged beer.
Very big fan of breakfast.
Yeah. And the adjuncts just kept on going. So you heard in the description that there's a lot in this beer. There's a lot going on. And somehow it all works together. It does taste like you're eating, like you're going to Frisch's. I'm going to date myself.
Frisch's still exists. It's just
you're at the breakfast bar.
shell of what it used to be.
You're getting you're at the breakfast bar and you're just piling on the blueberry syrup.
Yeah, you're getting the French toast. Well, this is pancakes, but you're French toast sticks that you're piling up with maple syrup and blueberries, and your mom's like, "Are you going to eat all that?" And you're like, "Yeah, Mom, of course I'm going to." And then you leave like 3/4 of your plate behind because your eyes are bigger than your stomach.
Yeah,
those are good times.
A note about Frisch's, which I guess doesn't matter now, but you could request the blueberry syrup if you didn't even get the breakfast bar.
I mean, it's an item on their menu. You can request whatever you want.
I don't know that they upcharged it or whatever, but
they might not have. I mean, I really want fudge cake now. The last time I had the fudge cake, I was like, this is not as good as I remember it being, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
The hot fudge really was what made it. Or is what makes it.
I mean, we can make our own.
That's too much work.
It's just cake and hot fudge.
And ice cream, but you got to like slice it all up and that's...
You don't have to stack it.
That is the point. You get the layers. Like an ogre, it has layers, but they're delicious layers, unlike an ogre.
Okay.
That is your Shrek reference for this episode. As a good millennial, I must always reference Shrek.
Do we claim that?
I have no idea. Do we claim being millennials?
Do we claim the movie Shrek? Like, is that a millennial movie?
Yeah. That soundtrack was a jam. Nothing but bangers. We did a dance to it in Girl Scouts, and I borrowed the CD, and like we did a dance to All Star, but the CD that we had to hand around that had the song on it was the Shrek soundtrack.
Yeah.
So I just would listen to the whole Shrek soundtrack while thinking what dance moves I wanted to do to All Star, and then I would do an All Star dance break, and then I'd go back to just jamming out.
The movie Shrek was my very first DVD. Mm-hmm. Like, I bought the DVD player at Kmart.
Oh, good old Kmart.
With my own money. I think it was expensive. It was like $200 for a DVD player. And I bought my very first DVD, which was Shrek. I still have it. It's upstairs.
Yeah.
The kids watch it.
There was that fun time period where all the commercials were available on VHS or DVD, available on cassette or CD. Well, actually, no, for a hot second, it was VHS or DVD, and then the DVD turned to ultraviolet or Blu-ray, as they were all trying to compete for what was going to be the next thing.
Then it was digital copy.
Oh, yeah. Digital copy is still a thing, but that's do you have it on this service or that service or this other service? Good luck. Log into all of them. You lost it. Too bad. Go buy it again.
So what do you think of this beer?
It's good. I like it. It's not like super alcohol-y. It's very smooth. I don't know if I get all of the notes. But
yeah, I don't think in the original plan they had raspberry. They just kind of, he added raspberry because he wanted the blueberry to pop a little bit more.
if I think about it, I can get raspberry and then a little bit of blueberry afterwards, because blueberry is not a very strong flavor unless you do like artificial blueberry. And then you're like, oh, I'm not super sure about this. Like with cherry, like you can go like super funky with cherry real fast. Like it turns medicinal.
Yeah.
Blueberry's kind of like that too.
Yeah. So they invited several people to brew the beer.
We are invited to the next one.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. No spoilers on what it's going to be because we're still arguing about it.
Okay. Well, I guess you get to go to that one.
Yeah.
But
well, hopefully we can both go brew, but I'm for sure going to the bottle share.
yeah, so speaking of the bottle share, I went on Saturday, and it's my first bottle share in a very long time. Mm-hmm. Probably since the 100th episode. But a lot of people were there, so it was a really good showing. Zach Hawley, of course, was there. Blake the Brewery Explorer was there. The Miss Beerhavior team podcast was there. Ron's daughter was there.
Oh, yeah, because she hangs out.
She decided, or I guess she was told to babysit them and drive them back to Dayton. They drove pretty far.
Yeah, what was
over an hour?
Yeah, he had over an hour drive.
So they were there. Tom from the group was there, and some other people from the group were there as well. It was a really good time, and of course, Kelly Montgomery was there in addition to all of that. So he is the owner and brewer of Third Eye, formerly of Brink, still part owner of Brink, is my understanding.
That was my understanding as well.
But he doesn't really do anything with it. He's all in on Third Eye, which they have now 2 locations, one in Sharonville, one in Hamilton. Mm-hmm. But we went to the Sharonville one.
Which is why it's Meanwhile in Sharonville.
Yeah, so Zach is a comic book movie nerd. The Meanwhile in Sharonville is a reference to, I think, the Superman movie that they filmed in Cincinnati.
Probably.
So
I feel like it was about that time was when they were brewing this.
Yeah, so it's like a comic book reference, although the pancake is not a reference to that, but the name is for sure. This is a great beer, and I believe, at least on Saturday, there were about 28 bottles left.
There's none now.
They're all sold out.
Yes, they're all sold out. They might still be on tap, but
yeah, you
cannot get a bottle.
He had it on tap as well. It's a big beer, but it doesn't taste like it. Mm-mm. It tastes incredibly sweet.
Yeah.
And,
sweet is the biggest thing that I get out of it. And it's got it's full bodied. So it's like thick with like 2 C's.
Yes. There's a lot going on in this beer. It's a sipper for sure.
It's got legs, as they would say in the wine world.
And I'm like salivating because
Would you like
so
some
sweet.
water?
It's so sweet. Yeah, I don't have water.
Plan ahead. Oh, I didn't. That's not on the list. Well, you'll be fine.
But before we get to the list, there's a couple of, I guess, side quests. I don't know.
We always have side quests.
I don't know what you want to call it. So I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, and I came across a reel in my newsfeed, and because this particular creator tagged Truth, Beer, and Podsequences.
Mm-hmm. Friends of the podcast or acquaintances of the podcast.
Yeah, it depends on the day.
Yeah, it really does.
So I take a listen to this, and it's a video by Half-Assed Beer Review?
Half-assed beer review.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I got that right. Giving Marco and Julia the business for not having a button dedicated to Caroline, which I'm assuming is you.
I'm the only Caroline that I know of in the craft beer podcast community.
Yeah. So obviously I've heard of this show before, but I've never had a chance to listen to it.
Yeah.
Marco and Julia talk about them sometimes, but I haven't had a chance to watch any of their videos yet. But apparently, Caroline, you have a button on a podcast video show that we don't listen to.
So this means we have to collaborate, right?
Well, yeah, obviously, but you don't even have a button on our show.
I mean, I have buttons of me talking.
What?
Or wait.
That's like insane
West side,
shit.
west side.
Here, wait, there, it's this one.
West side, west side.
And this button, and then that button, and then that one.
What is this? Some kind of nerd thing?
So I have two buttons, but I don't have a Caroline button.
And I do have a confession to make. I do not believe I've heard that song all the way through.
You haven't heard Roses all the way through?
No.
You don't know, like, how bad I am? I am the reason for the word itch. According to that song. See, I get different portions of this song sung to me on a semi-regular basis.
Nope, never heard it.
And I don't know who the other Caroline is, but we should be BFFs because we'd probably mostly get along. But yeah, it's fun when you have a song that has your name in it because then people like to sing it at you, even if it's not like a super positive song. Most people, it's Sweet Caroline. But then
Yes.
I'd say like that's like 60+% of it is Sweet Caroline. And then 30-ish+% is Roses by Outkast.
Yeah, I never
And-
heard that song.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that song, really.
You probably don't. I mean, I can give you some of the highlights, but like,
I think I got the highlights.
yeah, I mean, that was pretty much the highlight is that Caroline is not great. Me, myself, I am awesome. Most humble person I know and super great at everything.
Yeah.
And according to my kids, I know everything. I do not super correct them on that one. I just say I know a lot of things. Is what I usually say to that one.
Well, Elliot has picked up on that. By the way, today is Elliot's birthday. And I'm not going to say what day it is.
That means the podcast is almost 4 years old.
Yes.
Because little 2-week-old Elliot was hanging out while we recorded our first episode.
Yeah, so today is his birthday. I guess you'll have to figure out, what day that is, but I guess he went with you. Did he go with you?
Yeah, so when Entertainment Junction was closing, and they were in their last week, and we went and did our normal visit between Christmas and New Year's, except it was not our normal visit because instead of the place being like busy, it was packed.
Yes.
And I said, okay, hey, why don't you guys go look at the Christmas trains? Because I'm sure Elliot would love to do that. And I'll go look at the store and see if anything's left and try to get Elliot a birthday present from their hobby shop. Well, Elliot decided he didn't want to go look at the trains. He wanted to go to the shop with me. So Elliot helped me pick out his birthday present. And I told him, I was like, we can open it now and you won't get anything on your birthday. Or you can open it up on your birthday. And he waffled back and forth, but he ultimately decided on his birthday. There wasn't a whole lot to choose from, by that point. They didn't have any of, like, I was hoping to get like some Thomas stuff to work with his motorized trains, but that stuff was all gone. It was, only some of the wooden train stuff was left.
Which we have wooden trains. So there were like 2 or 3 sets for him to choose from that like I was okay with paying the price that they were. And he ultimately ended up picking out a combo firehouse police station. And it's got a little bridge and it's got a little road that goes around the firehouse and the police station. Mm-hmm. And so the kids were playing with that tonight. He was so excited today.
Yeah, well, because when we got home, when we got home, I put it in my craft room with the intention of like hiding it somewhere else. But like it was behind boxes. So like if you looked through the door, you couldn't see it. But if you were in the craft room, you could definitely see it. And so then, but Elliot always knew like that's my birthday present. So like there were 2 or 3 times between when we bought it and his birthday where he's like, that's my birthday present. And I'm like, yeah, but it is. Mom needs to do a better job of hiding it. And then I never did a better job of hiding it. To be fair, there's not a whole lot of places to hide stuff here.
I mean, there
are. At least not places where the kids don't go. So while I was at work, I get this text from Joe, and you can say your piece.
Well, I come downstairs from working because I work from home. I worked from home today. And Elliot apparently randomly walked downstairs into the basement.
Not randomly, with intention.
Okay, with intention. We have a child lock on the basement. I don't know how
They know how to open all the child locks. The child locks do nothing now.
Okay, so he can open it. I did not know that.
Yeah. They took turns showing each other how they could do it and showing me how they could do it one day.
Okay.
Mom, look at me.
So he went into the craft room in the basement, which is right around the corner here.
Which he's not supposed to do without me, but whatevs.
Correct. Where is his parent and guardian?
I'm at my job, so it's all on you two.
He took the handle and he carried it upstairs to show Grandma. And Grandma was like, I don't know what this is. But this thing isn't small. It's like this big.
Yeah, it was a pretty big box.
It's a big box.
Like if he wanted to, he could probably fit in the box. It's that big.
Yeah, he carried it up all by himself and put it in the kitchen. And then when I came downstairs for lunch, he's like, this is my birthday present. And I'm like, we're having a birthday party for him on Saturday.
I mean, my intention was to wrap it, my intention was to open it up and set it up on his train table for his party on Saturday.
I did not know that. I thought he was opening it on his birthday. So I was like, buddy, this is for your birthday party on Saturday. And he's like, this is my birthday present. And then he goes over to the calendar on the wall and he points to his birthday square, which has like a little cake on it or whatever.
A cake with 4 candles because I drew it myself.
And he goes, today is my birthday, Dad. This is my birthday present. I'm like, wait until your mom gets home.
So then Mom gets home, which is me, and we spend maybe 30 seconds in the house. It was probably more like 5 minutes in the house. Because we then left. Target does not take checks. Somebody got my credit card number, and I currently do not have a credit card. I'm waiting for my replacement to show up. So I go to Target yesterday with kids to try to buy stuff, and I can't because I get to check out, and I'm like, okay, I got to pay by check, thinking I'm going to have to show my ID and hand them a check, and they'll use their fancy check machine that's right there. Oh, no, we don't take checks anymore. So I had to leave all the stuff there. Kids were super excited about the stuff we were going to get. I was super excited about the vacuum that wasn't going to sound 5 times louder than it should. And then Lily got her glasses because Lily has glasses now. And my intention was I grabbed Joe's credit card this morning so I could go back to Target after work And then my mom was like, hey, Lily really needs her glasses readjusted because they keep falling off her face. So I was like, okay, well, I guess you try some fixes at home. If those don't work, I'll throw the kids in the car. So I threw the kids in the car. We get Lily's glasses fixed, so they fit a lot better now, which is great. And then we go back to Target where the kids are like, okay, we want to pick up all the stuff that we picked up the last time we came here. And the guy recognized me when I checked out. He was like, am I crazy or were you here yesterday? And I was like, I was here yesterday. I have my husband's credit card now. He's like, I felt so bad, but I couldn't do anything about it. And I'm like, it's fine. It is what it is. Because like after my credit card got canceled, I went to Kroger with the kids, but I had my checkbook. And I was like, I told Lily, I was like, so Lily, your credit card can let you down because somebody can take it and it gets canceled, but your checkbook won't let you down. Your checkbook is always going to work. And then like 4 days later, we're at Target and we can't check out. And she's like, but mommy, your checkbook always works. The credit card's the problem. And she's like, my mommy doesn't have a credit card because somebody took it. And I'm like, it's okay, honey. And they're like practically in tears as we're leaving the store because Lily got a super awesome shirt that says awesome sauce and has a bottle of sriracha on it. She is so stoked about that shirt because girl loves hot sauce. The second that I saw it, I was like, you're getting this. And then Elliot's really into Ninja Turtles now. I bought him a pair of Ninja Turtle shoes because they were the only shoes that he would accept at the store when we needed to buy him new shoes. Even though he was like, I don't like Ninja Turtles. But green, these shoes. And then now Ninja Turtles is his favorite thing ever.
Apparently.
And I'm like, oh, okay, little dude. I mean, he still loves trains. That's the big thing because we have a lot of trains in the house.
We do. We invested in the train.
As soon as that investment stops paying off, we're a little bit screwed. But you're gonna like trains until you're in college.
You better.
Yeah. So long. Because apparently I don't know how to tell short stories. We didn't come home right away, but the second we came home, Elliot's like, granted the box is on the counter. He's like, I want my box. And I'm like, bud, let's eat some dinner first. But he picked out that he wanted to eat saltines and white cheddar Cheez-Its and cheese for dinner. It's his birthday, so yeah, we can do that. And then he didn't want cake. He wanted cheesecake. And then he changed his mind and said he wanted cookies for his party. Which, okay, that price point is a little bit cheaper. So we're good with that. We got a little like 4-slice cheesecake to do today to sing him happy birthday. So he really liked that. And we got a bunch of cookies. I think the deciding factor with the cookies was they had cookies with green icing. And the package is perfect for us because it's half green icing and half purple icing.
Oh, man.
So both kids' favorite colors are represented. But yeah, so as soon as dinner was over, the kids were trying to figure out how to get the box off the counter. So I was like, Joe, you got to get that box down or they're just going to drop it. They carried it into the library and we're starting to try to figure out how to get stuff out. They're like, how does this open? How does this work? And I'm like, let me get over there before you break something. Because Elliot got a train for Christmas and Lily was trying to help and put it together and she put it together incorrectly. But it's like the plastic snap-in pieces and you can't unsnap them. So just the tunnel is permanently weird. It's fine. It's just... Let's pause for a second and look at the directions, kids.
If you are new to this podcast, we had our quote 100th episode.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called now.
It's still called the Great Bottle Share. Okay. I think it's closer to 130 or 120.
Yeah, because we did some point episodes that December.
Yeah.
To try to make 100 not fall in a weird time. And then Joe renumbered everything.
Yeah, I didn't like the 0.5, but it was confusing. So we talked a lot about in that episode with a panel of guests. So speaking of chaos, I feel your pain, Blake. The only thing that that was missing at your bottle share episode was Thomas the Tank Engine.
Rule 43 of the internet?
Something like that, yeah.
Ah, dang. I used to know these.
Yeah. Inappropriate Thomas the Tank Engine. We'll leave it at that.
Very
Family friendly.
scarring.
Yes. But bottle shares, I feel like, are a very important piece of the craft beer culture because, especially early on, it was important. And maybe the culture has moved on, and maybe that's fine, perhaps. But I think there's still a place for it. But back in the day when craft beer was new, at least new for us. I mean, craft beer has always been our thing, but there was this new, it was fresh, it was new. In like 2013, 2014. These small breweries would have releases of barrel-aged, whatever, or even, as these things evolved, the styles changed. But they would have special beer releases on Saturdays. And groups of people from all over, the community would wait in line to get their special bottle release. Mm-hmm. And
Dark Charge was a big one. I don't think Dark Charge is still a big one because a lot of that they do online now. Chicao Day was huge.
Yeah, I mean, people still do releases, but and we'll talk about where the culture has gone. But back then, they had, online stuff existed obviously, but the beer releases were always in person, first come, first served, limited release. We went to a couple. We went to Fiona and the original Fiona, I believe.
We went to OG Fiona.
And
we went to a Chicao Day because I thought it was a Zoo Babies release, but it was not. It was Chicao.
And
that was like a super great happenstance. Like, I'm glad that I got my schedule mixed up. I was like, why does everyone have a muffin tin?
Yeah.
Why was I supposed to bring a muffin tin? What is this? And yes, I was supposed to bring a muffin tin.
Yeah. So Chicao is both of these are Listerman. Mm-hmm. Which Listerman is in that first wave of craft beer that I always talk about in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. Chicao is a brown ale, and they barrel aged it. So, and they do, Chicao Day was they would release a bunch of adjuncts. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them were only on draft. So you would bring your muffin tin and they would give you like little tasters. And
plastic tasters.
Yeah, plastic tasters. And you would taste all the adjuncts.
But you could carry them away in your muffin tin.
Yes. That's how you would carry them. I don't know if they had 12 or 6 or whatever, but
they'd have quite a few. I mean, a lot of people would have like 12 pan muffin tins, and at least half of them would be full.
Yeah. So maybe they had that. Maybe but yeah, it was a very special thing. And then people would, while you were waiting in line, sometimes it would be cold or whatever. Sometimes it would be middle of summer. Any time of year, these breweries would have releases, and people would bring, all kinds of beers to share. Mm-hmm. And you would just be standing in line with your neighbor, someone you've never met before, and you would be, sharing a beer and talking about, craft beer, and it was a community. You've never met these people before, but you were all bonding over this drink in the glass. Mm-hmm. That's someone locally crafted, ideally locally crafted, because a lot of these beers at the bottle share were special, like barrel aged, and
it might be your chance to try dinner from Maine Brewing Company, right? That's Maine. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they have a dinner and lunch, I think.
I think they have a breakfast now too. I feel like they completed the series.
Yeah, okay, I don't know.
Or like to get some Pliny the Elder. So a beer that's like you've heard a lot about, and like, oh, somebody's got a bottle, but like they don't want to drink it at home. They want to share it with as many people as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's an opportunity. These days, and we talk about this a little bit in the bottle share episode that we did with Truth Beer Pod, the Gnarly Gnome, and Tony, and producer Josh was there as well. But
Dippa-Josh.
fine.
Dippa-Josh.
Yeah. Dippa-Josh was there, but he was off mic. But yeah, we talked about this a little bit, but COVID, I feel like it was starting to wane, that culture of waiting in line and doing a bottle share. It was starting to.
What was getting harder was part of it because like Listerman will release beers any day of the week. A lot of places would try to like save up some, but they try to save like stuff like this up for Saturday. And other places were doing that as well. So it'd be like, well, I could go to Listerman, or I could go to Streetside, or I could go to Braxton.
Yeah.
But they're all releasing something the same day. So there's, at some point you get a kind of like decision fatigue on, well, where am I where can I go?
Yeah.
And if I don't go here and I go there instead, what are the odds I can still get a bottle at this other place, or what are they going to be sold out?
Yeah. And I think because of that, Listerman stopped doing Saturday releases, and they did it on random Thursdays and random Tuesdays.
Yeah. Which had mixed reviews.
Yeah.
Some people liked it, and other people were like, I'm at work, dude. I can't do anything about this. And then I think part of it, too, is as a lot of the people who were in that bottle share line started getting older and potentially having kids, it's, well, now that bottle share is also competing with Saturday morning soccer.
Yeah.
So there becomes a point where that's not necessarily sustainable. And then COVID kind of was a little bit of a death keel.
It was one of the final blows, I feel like.
Yeah, because that turned into, well, we can't or we shouldn't stand in line outside. So a lot of places started doing online beers. So it was, well, yeah, we still only have the same 200 bottles, but it's all going to be you order online. So what is it? Family Traditions. I think that's like Thursday. It's like maybe it's like a Tuesday. Cause I'm going to say that's like Black Friday weekend. I think it's like on Tuesday. And it's not my fault if you missed something out because you listened to me, because I have not ordered Family Traditions before. Listen to Truth Beer and Consequences around Thanksgiving, and they'll tell you, listen to Cincy Beer Events, and they will tell you all about that stuff and what you need to know. But it's like you order on Tuesday, and then you can pick up on Friday or Saturday or Sunday. And then if you don't pick up on Sunday, again, it ain't my fault if you listened to me and not their website on what the actual dates are. Because I'm trying to remember this stuff, and I probably remembered it wrong. But then it's like they have that last day that you can pick it up. And if you don't pick it up that last day, then it just goes back into the pot, and then it's available for sale at Sonder.
Yeah. Yeah, so they have, Sonder has theirs, Streetside has theirs, Demogorgon Day, and apparently Mac and Cheese Day. Because we tried to get a Streetside, and it was actually pretty busy.
Yeah, it was Return of the Mac, and they had a bunch of variants with that. But because like Dark Charge with Braxton, when Have a Drink Show was very regular with putting out episodes, Chris from that would actually be the first in line for Dark Charge Day every year, because he'd go down the day before and or like I guess the night before, but before Braxton would close, he'd go there, he'd get a beer, but he'd also set his camping chair out in front of the front door, and he would be the first person in line every year. I think the news interviewed him like twice because of it. Because he'd just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna hang out here all night. Like, I live like 2 blocks away, so if it gets like super bad, I can just go back home. Like I got a warm place that I can go if I need to, but he'd just hang out there all night and be the first one there in the morning.
Yeah, and speaking of Braxton, we went to back in the day the Grater's raspberry chip.
Yeah, the
release.
the Grater's releases, those were great.
The first one, it was like Sub-Zero.
It was Sub-Zero. Like it was the point where like the beer tasted better 10 degrees warmer than the weather was outside.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get all the notes because the beer was so cold.
Braxton was at capacity.
Yeah.
And they had a bouncer at the door.
Yeah, and so like you couldn't necessarily get in without waiting in line because you had to wait for
they
people
had
to
a
leave.
tent though.
Yeah, they had a tent. Grater's had a truck handing out free ice cream, but like the line was 10 miles long.
Yeah.
Eventually we got ice cream that we could dump and turn our beer into beer floats. I don't remember how that tasted because I was so cold. I bought a case of it and it took us forever to drink it all, but it was still good. And then I think I did the same thing with Elena's blueberry pie when they came out with that one. But yeah, so we had a lot of good times with that. Yeah, it's been a hot second since we've really done anything like that.
And I don't really see a lot of, hey, who's going to this beer release? And maybe it's because I'm not in the rate. My algorithm doesn't push that to me.
It doesn't. I mean, it's only every once in a while, but like I'll see it. Like it's not the same. So like I remember with like when we did Brink's Armored Heart, their first beer release, I was like pushing you to get out the door and you're like, why are we rushing for this? And we were like we were really close to the last of the people who had a choice in all of the variants.
Yeah.
But it would like, those were the days of like, you would wake up at 7 a.m. and you would see 3 different posts of like somebody at the back door or the front door to a brewery with the little grill set up, cooking some sausages.
Yeah.
Like, where y'all at? I'm here right now. Like that was a lot of it too, was like, I'm here right now. Where are you? Why aren't you here? Grab some food, bring some beers, and let's all hang out on this street and hope the cops don't roll by. But also don't be a delinquent and the cops maybe won't care as much, but yeah, it was very interesting times. Because like Brink was one thing because you're like behind the building and you're mostly shielded from everything. Like Listerman, you are on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Because you have to stay on the sidewalk. You can't go onto Listerman's property. And it's just a road where people are driving by.
Pretty busy road, too.
A pretty busy road. So it's like, what? But yeah, you can't be on Listerman's property because you'll screw up their liquor license. And they were very good about that. And like, if you weren't somebody that they recognized, they made sure that they told you these are the ground rules. And like, they'll open the doors so you can go in and pee, and we'll make sure that you get to keep your space in line, but don't bring any of that beer in with you. I don't know exactly what it's like now because I haven't been to a beer release in a long, long while.
Yeah, I'm not sure Listerman really does that these days.
I don't know either. I mean,
and that's the other thing. As the market grew and grew and grew, everything was saturated. Mm-hmm. And I guess the market for, special releases, barrel age releases, it just kind of, I don't want to say it went away, but it became a smaller piece of the pie. And breweries were investing in more of their flagships.
Yeah. Well,
so they were making more and more, so it was less exclusive.
It's the Braxton problem of, well, everybody wants Tropic Flair, but then the only thing in our tanks is Tropic Flair. We don't have space for anything else. It's hard to say, I'm going to make 15 gallons of this barrel-aged beer where I'm for sure I'm going to go throw it all in barrels, and that's not going to see my taps for at least a year. Versus, well, I can try to throw this ale in between batches of Tropic Flair that I can at least put another tap handle on the wall and not be stuck down to like 10 tap handles because everything is tropic flair.
Right. So that's kind of how I see it, at least. That's how I see the bottle share culture, craft beer culture. We talked a little bit about craft beer culture and is it dying last week or 2 weeks.
Dead. It's gone.
Well, listen to that
This beer is
episode. I'll link
terrible.
to it in the show notes or whatever. I feel like bottle shares are not as prevalent anymore. We kind of talked about that. So if you are a newbie to a bottle share, Marco.
Half the beers have lactose. What's he supposed to do?
What are the top 10 things that you should bring to a bottle share?
Okay.
Caroline.
I have
go.
made a list for you. And then we talked and I realized water's not on this list. But you know what? I'm not adding water. Figure your life out. I ain't responsible for you. This is your boilerplate reminder. This podcast is not legal, financial, medical, or life advice. You do you, boo. I ain't responsible for that ish. So here are my list of top 10 things that you need for a bottle share. Don't at me or at me. No, do at me if you don't agree with this. Top 10 things, according to me, that you need to bring to a bottle share. Really only need like the top 5, but we're going to do the top 10 because you need to have some extras maybe. So, number 10, plasticware. People are going to bring food. You might want something to eat it with. And in that vein, number 9 is plates. But what are your hands but not plates and plasticware? Just a little bit messier. So do you need them? Meh, we can argue about it. Not so much though. Number 8, a sweet treat. Because yes, this beer is very sweet, but at some point I am going to want a sweet treat to eat with it. The more I drink, the more sweet things that I would like to eat. So, sweet treat, always a good thing. Number 7, and I just realized I did not number these, so I am counting backwards myself. Good luck. These numbers might change. Number 7, napkins. You didn't bring plasticware. You didn't bring the plates. Let's make our hands a little less messy with napkins. Number 6, a bottle opener. At some point, someone is going to bring a beer with a bottle top on it, and you're going to need a way to open it. You can find some creative ways to do it. My number 1 recommendation is to not use your teeth. Use the side of a table or the side of a bar. Use a buddy's teeth. Don't use your teeth. Or bring a bottle opener, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Do you not use your teeth?
Yeah. No, I said don't use your teeth.
Or your buddy's teeth?
It's your buddy. He'll be fine. Number 5, a weird food that no one has heard of before. I can guarantee you roll up with this snack and everybody's going to be like, what is that? I never heard of that before. I've never had that before. Why do I want that? And then 2 beers in, they're going to be like, what is that? I am curious and I am going to eat half of that right now. So something that nobody else has heard of before. Good time for regional snacks.
Skyline muffins.
Yeah, that's all you get. Or go to Jungle Gyms, pick up something weird. Number 4, a protein snack. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're going to need something to keep your body going. Protein is a great way to do that. You get yourself some energy. Cheese, meat sticks, as the gnome puts it, tubular meat. Great thing to bring. Are people going to look at you a little weird when you roll up with tubular meat? When you start calling it tubular meat, maybe they're going to stay a little bit away from you. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not. That's for you to decide. Protein snack. Cheese also falls under that category. Number 3, cups. Now, what is a bottle or a can but just a different type of cup? But do you want your buddy's backwash because he's 3 beers deep now and you know he's not sipping the same way he was on that first beer, you really, really need some cups. This will help everyone's beer share experience. It also makes it nice if somebody starts pouring something and you still have a little bit of that last beer. Well, I've got another cup ready to go as soon as I finish this one. Mm-hmm. And I can rinse them out and I can rotate stuff around. Number 2, carbs. Again, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You need something to soak up that alcohol. Pretzels, bread, great things to have to help soak up some of that alcohol and keep you going just a little bit longer. And number 1, beer. If you don't have beer, what even is your bottle share? Like, even if it's crappy beer, pull that out last.
Julia.
Everybody's going to be like, this is the best thing ever. And it's something that you're like, I pulled this out the back of my beer fridge and I just wanted to get rid of it. Julia.
I think we still have some of that in our fridge.
We do. So that is my top 10 list in particular order. At me if you disagree, and we'll go fight in the comments about it.
All right. It was interesting.
Any feedback on that, Joe?
Any feedback? Well, I agree with the first one.
The plasticware or the beer? The plasticware is the first one that I said. Beer is the number 1 item.
The number 1 item.
Okay.
The beer. Mm-hmm. That's incredibly important. And I often talk on this podcast about the quote, dumbest day in my life.
Yep.
And this was like in 2015 or 2014.
It was before we got married.
2013, I think, maybe. Mm-hmm. 2014. It was something like that.
The 2010s.
We rented a Peterman bus and we went to like...
We did not. Our buddy rented a Peterman bus for his 30th birthday and went to, what was it, like 10 or 12 breweries?
I don't know if it was 12, but we started at Listerman because Listerman opens at 10 a.m. Mm-hmm. And we got back to Listerman at 10 p.m. We went to quite a few breweries.
Yeah. And Joe was the only one that made it back in the door at Listerman, but I was the one drinking at that point.
Correct. I stopped drinking. Let's see. We went to...
I joined halfway through because I had a craft show that day that like I had already signed up for.
God, we went to Mad Tree, Rheingeist, Rivertown. Mm-hmm. Pretty sure did we go to Kentucky?
I feel like we did.
We went to Kentucky for the bachelor party.
Yeah, you guys went to Kentucky for the bachelor party.
So I don't know if we went to Braxton.
We drove a lot.
We went to 50 West. That's 4. Mm-hmm. We drove out to Cellar Dweller. That's 5.
Yeah. Was Rivertown, was that back when it was in that sketchy...
Yeah, in the industrial.
Yeah, and that turned into like Cincinnati Brewing or Cincinnatus Brewing or something like that now, isn't anything?
Yeah, so that's at least...
Because that's where I met you guys.
Anyway.
Rheingeist. Did you say Rheingeist?
I think I did. Yes, I did.
Okay, because I remember Rheingeist.
Taft's? No, Taft's wasn't open.
I don't know if Taft's was open. Did we go? Oh, we went to the Christian Moorline tap room.
Yes.
Not the Lager House, the tap room, because we got a tour.
7. Yep.
From Greg, and that is where we got our Mug Club cards. We then earned our Mug Club cards a few years later, less than a handful of years later, when we became Brew Hogs. Which was when we did the Bachfest 5K, the Little Kings Mile, and the Hootapole 7K or 14K, and then attended the race thank you party at Moorline, and they were handing them out there. It's like, oh, we already have that. We got them from Greg. And that was before they started, that was like right before or right after they started brewing beer in Bachfest Hall that is no longer Bachfest Hall. Now everywhere is Bachfest Hall. It's so confusing.
It's very confusing. We may have gone to Braxton and 8 Ball. So that would make it 9.
I feel like we did go to 8 Ball.
So that would make it 9, if I'm counting that right.
Yeah.
It may be 10. We went to a lot of breweries. I did not drink at all of them. I stopped halfway, and you met me, I think, at Rivertown.
Yeah.
Because your mom drove you.
Yeah. Mom and Larry dropped me off, and they were a little bit concerned for me.
Yeah.
The birthday boy had just puked in the bus, and I was like, what am I getting myself into?
Yeah, so I talk often about that. I guess not often enough. It's been a minute. But I was the only one who brought snacks.
And I made sure you were loaded with snacks.
Yeah, I had a pepperoni, block cheese, you could cut it up and stuff. Crackers.
I almost showed up with
pretzels.
pizza rolls. Did I show up with pizza rolls? I think I almost showed up with pizza rolls, and Joe was like, these people are not appreciative and are looking at me like I'm crazy as I'm trying to hand them snacks. And I'm like, you know what? I ain't worrying about it then.
Yeah.
This was also when breweries did not usually have food.
They did not have food.
You'd be lucky if you found a bag of chips.
It was a rarity for sure, and we didn't have time if they did. 50 West had food because we went to the brew hub and the location that closed during COVID, then opened and then closed.
Yeah, the actual restaurant, not the hey, yeah, you can probably get a burger in 10 minutes if you really need to.
Correct. So the original 50 West, we went to, they had food. I think that was one of maybe 2 or 3 places that had food. Mm-hmm. I think Cellar Dweller has food.
Yeah.
But only during certain hours. Because it's like it's like a restaurant, but the restaurant is only a restaurant during dinner or something.
I don't remember. I've only been there once. I think. I really don't. I know for sure I went to Rivertown and Rheingeist.
Cellar Dweller's the one by your brother's.
I know. And I think I went to the stuff down in Kentucky because I think that's when you guys started traveling more south. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was very crazy because people when I joined was when people started peeling off. Hey, we added a person at this stop, but we also lost 3.
Yeah.
So the count has gone down.
No, so I would equate that day to a bottle share. Mm-hmm. That's just a moving bottle share.
Yeah.
Of chaos, which I would not recommend doing it that way. But snacks were very important that day. And like you said, I was able to drive home. I was fine because of the snacks.
Yeah.
And I think we had dinner at somewhere, but so it wasn't.
I don't know if we did.
You don't think we had dinner?
I don't. Well, maybe we might have gotten back to Listerman at 7 or 8. I honestly don't remember. It's been so long now.
It was dark.
I more remember the parties at his house than I remember that. Because there was Steppendy House and the eating of a raw pretzel. Or not a raw pretzel. Oh,
a raw potato.
Raw potato. Potato was in my mind.
It was St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, that was crazy. The one and only time I made that Lucky Charms thing that was really good, and I lost the recipe for it. It was also really hard though, because you had to pick out all the marshmallows out of the Lucky Charms cereal, which was annoying. Now they sell just the marshmallows. Probably make it myself.
But yeah, so snacks I would agree with. Like you said, protein and carbs. That's very important for bottle shares or brewery tours or even festivals. People have wised up to the carbs thing. They sell pretzel necklaces if you go to a big festival.
Yeah.
A brewery festival.
Yeah. The first time we went to Cincy, the first and only time we went to Cincy Brewfest, there were a handful of people that had pretzel necklaces on. And then like other beer events we went to, we saw more and more people that would have something like that. Or it'd be more likely that you could get something there.
Bachfest in particular.
Yeah.
It's like a big beer fest. A smaller beer fest, but a beer fest.
Yeah, when you've got like 20 beers on draft.
Yeah, so I would agree with that as well. Silverware, plasticware, I'm a dude, so
Hands. You have hands.
I have pants to wipe the hands.
Tide. It gets the tough stains out.
Yes,
Not a
that's
sponsor yet.
Yeah. Silverware, yeah, it's a knife would be handy, I guess. If you need to cut something up, but
Well, and like I specifically said plasticware because the odds, if you're at a bottle share, the odds of you being in a good environment are slim. So like plasticware, it falls on the ground. Meh, pitch it, get another one. Like you drop your knife, like you drop like a metal knife and you're like, dang it, I really kind of like have to think about cleaning that. Or you're just 3 beers in now and you just don't really care anymore. So you're like, wipe it off on my pants and move on with life.
that's what I would do, actually. I mean, depending on where it fell, obviously.
Yeah.
But
In a steaming pile
no.
and then rolled
no.
over onto some bugs
No.
and then landed on some food.
But speaking of the bottle share, something that I briefly mentioned, Blake the Brewery Explorer, we did a very long episode. I don't know how much he'll cut out.
Good luck.
But
I saw the setup. Good luck.
yes.
I can only imagine.
It was Blake. It was the Miss Beer Havier
Yeah.
crew. Zach Colley, me, obviously, and also Kelly Montgomery, who brewed this beer for the 513 Craft Beer Group on Facebook. So that should be coming out. That is his 50th episode.
Yep.
So that should be coming out in a week at this point.
We shall see. He sent a picture of him editing, and I was like, good luck.
Yeah, I want to say we talked probably 2.5 hours. And then he was silly enough to walk away. And
Oh, no, you don't do that. Oh, my sweet summer child. With Miss Behavior around? I know better than to do that.
yes, there might be some jump cuts during that point. Fortunately, he didn't do video, but that should be coming out soon. So subscribe to Blake. He's getting a lot of traction. So congratulations, Blake.
Yeah, Blake's Craft Beer Podcast. Yeah. I want to make sure I got the name right.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yep.
He is Blake the Brewery Explorer on Facebook and Instagram, though. So
Yep.
you can subscribe to him and get all the information you need. Shout out to Zach Colley for making this beer happen, along with Kelly. and
Inviting us to hang out.
in the Third Eye team. Unfortunately, we didn't have childcare. I mean,
tried.
we do have childcare, but it's kind of like they watch the kids during the week, so we have to pick our battles.
Yeah. If you want to say no, you can say no. I get it. I had lots of fun with the kids. We went to the zoo,
Yeah.
and then Lily and myself went to IKEA with Joe's credit card, and we didn't buy the whole store. I was very proud of us. I did actively put things back. Like I picked stuff up and then I put it down. And the putting it down was not into the cart.
Wow.
I know, man.
Okay, so that does it for this week's episode. Make sure you tune in next week. We are the Craft Parenting Podcast, the podcast about 2 Cincinnati craft beer lovers with a parenting problem. If you like this show, make sure you
Slam that like button, smash subscribe, ring that notification bell.
and if you're listening on audio, on the audio side, give us that
5 stars.
5-star rating and review. We really appreciate that. Also, if you want to connect with us, we are on all the social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, of course, Rumble, and X as well. If you want to follow me personally, I am at Dad of Words on Instagram and X.
And
And I also have a Substack. Like I write stuff. It's about, I write about parenting and technology. So I write about technology from a parent's point of view. So it doesn't quite fit into our niche here, but it's kind of related, which is why I kind of bounce it off into its own thing. So you can subscribe to that if you want.
I am at Caroline Creates Crafts on Instagram. I post photos of crafty things. I'm picking up watercolor now because I needed another hobby like I needed another hole in my head. I'm also thinking of getting my ears pierced again.
Okay.
That's the other hole in my head.
Thank you so
Full
much.
circle.
Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.